the right thing all along. On behalf of Councilman Danny Drum and Councilman Jimmy Van Bramer and our Deputy Borough President that just joined us, Melva Miller, for those of you that have not met Melva. We are very excited today to be celebrating Pride Month. It's a little late. We didn't want to conflict with the mayor's office, and so we postponed it till tonight. But we still made June, and it's an exciting thing. Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hunter's Point is in the house. Queens is an amazing place with our diversity and our just our constituency, who are so amazing. And we come from every place on the planet. We are the most diverse area on the planet. And to be able to celebrate great times and sad times is really a blessing in everyone's life that we can all do that together. And today we're celebrating some terrific honorees who are just so involved in the LGBTQ community and have really just made themselves leaders in making sure that we have educational programs and there are places for folks to go, and that we know that you're never alone. And isn't that the great thing about the group? And so it's an exciting time in the United States of America. I mean, the other day must have been just a revolutionary day in the United States of America, not only for gay marriage, but clearly for the Health Care Act and making sure that everyone who needs health care can get health care. But I got to admit, I shed tears on that day, and it was amazing. And so I'm so excited to be part of this community and so excited to be here to celebrate. So are we doing our honor first, or are we going to say a few words first?
Whatever you prefer, madam.
I think that we should hear from the two council members quickly before we bestow our first honor. So can I give you in no particular order, just closest to me and further away, Council Member Danny Drum.
Thank you, Madam Borough President. It's great to be here again. And, it's hard to believe that this is our 14th Pride celebration in Borough Hall. And, let's give that a big round of applause. And I remember working, with the former Borough President Claire Shulman didn't really want to have one in Borough Hall, right? So we had to wait until Borough President Helen Marshall got elected, and then Borough President Helen Marshall did the first one here. But it's always been true that the reason why these celebrations are so important is because invisibility is our biggest enemy, and it remains our biggest enemy. And I think that when people get to know who we are, and they understand that we are family, your friends, your neighbors, your school teachers, whatever it may be, that's when we really have an impact in terms of the movement. And it's my understanding that Justice Kennedy was affected in the same way by somebody who he knew in his own life who was gay, and began to change his opinion about what it meant to be an LGBT person. So the power of coming out, and coming out in the sense of Borough Hall coming out, the coming out individually that we do on a daily basis, even for me, I want to make sure my dry cleaner knows I'm gay. I want to make sure my laundromat knows I'm gay. Seriously, I do, because I want to be as open and as much a part of everyday life, and I'm very, very, very proud of being a gay person. I really am. And I wouldn't want to be anything else but gay. I didn't think that way when I was a teenager. I thought I was the only one. I thought that, my God, and this is a curse, but I actually grew to understand that I'm blessed because I'm gay, and that I bring a whole different perspective to life because I'm gay. And with the decision by the Supreme Court, I think what I felt most was that it validated for me, in a very official way, those feelings that I knew that I had, like since the time I was 17, and everybody who knows my mother has been very much involved in the movement as well. She validated them also, but to have a government or a court give that imprimatur to what it is that we ourselves have now come to believe about ourselves is so important. And that's why I think having this type of celebration here, having the borough president put her officialdom on this celebration, is so important. And it did take us years to get here. Okay, we take it for granted almost now. But it took us many years of struggle to get here. And we have more struggle moving forward, right? Okay, we still can be fired from our jobs in many states around the country. That has to change. And my biggest concern and my focus right now as chair of the Education Committee in the City Council is ensuring that we teach LGBT history. And I'm very proud to say that in this year's budget, for the very first time, the council was able to secure, with the help of our majority leader and Julissa Ferreras and the speaker, Melissa Martha-Verito, and my insistence that we have a liaison in the Department of Education who will oversee all of the things that need to be done in the Department of Education. So that is actually in the budget. That person will be hired very soon, and then they will coordinate all the things, teaching of history, bullying, you know, whatever it needs to be done in the department. So, and protecting our youth so that they don't have to go through what many of us went through in our lives is so important. And then just before I turn the mic over to Councilmember Van Bremer, I want to also acknowledge that we've been joined by the Commissioner for the Human Rights Commission, who is an out lesbian woman. Her name is Carla Lynn Malalis, and let's give her a big round of applause. And she shocked me. Because we're at a hearing, and I was saying to her, what are you going to do for LGBT people? Sometimes the council here can get quite contentious, you know? And she said, what am I going to do? She said, well, let me just tell you I'm a lesbian. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I got it. Very, very good. Thank you. And she has been working so hard, and she has brought such a fresh air to the Human Rights Commission. And we're working on legislation with her. We're working on reviving that whole commission moving forward, and I just am so glad that you are in that role, looking out for all of us and for everybody in New York City, and the cross-sectionality of what it means to be gay and a person of color, I think is something as well. That's a very dynamic thing that you bring to that position. So, Commissioner, we love you, thank you, and now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague in government, the Majority Leader of the New York City Council, Councilmember Jimmy Van Bremer. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Drum, and I too am very, very proud to be a gay council member and a gay married council member. Proud to call Dan Hendrick my husband. I was proud to call him that before Friday, but even more so today. And it's great to be here. I want to thank our borough president for being such a champion of all people in Queens, all families in Queens. I know she often speaks about what's good for families is good for Queens, and what's good for Queens is good for families. It's good to know that we have a borough president who understands that all families are equal. So thank you, Madam Borough President, for your support. And Councilmember John, this is only the 742nd Pride event we've done this month together, so it's always good to celebrate who we are. And I don't know about you, but I remember exactly where I was when I heard that the ruling came down. I was on 21st Street in Astoria doing a press conference on traffic safety with the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, Commissioner Polly Trottenberg, and Councilmember Costa Constantinides, about to make a huge announcement on safety. And right before the commissioner took the podium, someone said they just ruled marriage is legal. And I said, I have to call my husband. So I ran to the corner and I called Dan and I told him what was happening. And then the commissioner said, you have to start off the press conference and talk about marriage. We can't do this press conference about traffic safety and not acknowledge what just happened in this country. So I did. I went to the podium and announced that marriage was a right for all of us in this country, and I started to get really emotional, and I started to cry, and the commissioner started to cry, and I looked out and all the reporters were crying. And it was a really beautiful moment, and a really beautiful emotional moment. All those reporters who were supposed to be objective about all the things we were about to say, they were all crying as well, and it was a beautiful moment that I'll never forget. I'm sure all of you will never forget where you were when you heard that. Like Danny, when I was a little gay boy growing up in Astoria, Queens, I could have never imagined that we would be at this place. it's a great time. Not only that, but then we passed a budget on the very same day. $79 billion budget, which is great. And it's great to be here honoring all these amazing folks, leaders, champions who've been in the fight. You know, I sent out an email about love on Friday in response to the rendering by the court, and there was a paragraph way at the end, but I feel it every single time because a few years ago we honored a man named Lou Rispoli at this very event, and he was a man who fought for marriage equality for many years. He lived in Woodside with his then partner for 30 years. Lou and Danielle were here, and they got married a few years ago, and then sadly Lou was murdered a couple of years ago. We've never caught his killers, but I think of Lou Rispoli on a day like Friday, and so many others who fought so hard, so valiantly for so many years. The folks we lost to AIDS, the folks we've lost to violence, and Friday would have meant so much to them to have witnessed it and to see what's happened. But we fight in their honor, and we love in their memory. So let's give a big round of applause to all of those we've lost. They're good for here. Yes. So before we move on to some of the awards, which I'm very grateful to my colleagues in government that they're going to allow me to do first, because I do have to do a fireworks celebration in Astoria Park a little bit later, and we can't miss the fireworks. But we're very thrilled to have New York City Human Rights Commissioner Carmelyn Morales, and would you come and say a few words? Everyone welcome Commissioner Morales.
Time at that. So thank you so much for having me here. It feels, you know, we're on the last day of June. It feels like we're just holding on to as much pride as we possibly can. It's just been a tremendous pride season. So thanks again for having me here. You know, we've been talking about what an amazing few days it's been, and it has truly been amazing at that. On Friday, we, you know, at the commission, when we found out about the decision, I basically, you know, on my own declared it, you know, love conquers all day at the commission. We kind of just threw up our own pop-up party with celebrations and watching, you know, what was going on at City Hall, what was going on with things in DC, and what was going on with things in the city, because we wanted to make sure folks, our staff, the people who were coming to the commission that day were really going to have a historic memory of what it was like at the moment when the decision came out. I want to say that it has been also an amazing time to be in government. You know, this is my first foray into public service, and it's been an amazing time to be a lesbian, heading the New York City Human Rights Commission, which has the mandate of enforcing the city human rights law, which includes, of course, very explicit and robust protections against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity and gender expression. You know, on Friday, as our staff were caught in festivities and celebrating, we had other staff who were also there at the 11th Annual City's Trans Day of Action, because it was important for us as a commission to be out there remembering that we're there, we're a resource for our lesbian, gay, and bisexual brothers and sisters, and we were out there and we were there as sources of support for our transgender brothers and sisters. And, you know, we want the community to know that we are out there as a source for education and awareness about the city human rights law. We want folks to be aware of their obligations and their rights, because we at the commission intend to be very aggressively enforcing those rights for you, for our different communities. I want to just point out that we have these great palm cards that are out new from the commission, so people know what their rights are, know what their obligations are. They're available on our website. I'll be excited to hopefully be invited back to Borough Hall at some point in the future, but I have been trying to make my rounds around the room so that you all can invite me into your own home, so to speak. And thanks again for having me.
We thank the Commissioner for joining us tonight. And I didn't get a chance to thank Councilman Van Bramer as well, and as Danny introduced him, but it's a great partnership that Councilman Van Bramer and Councilmember Drum and I have, and we're very excited by it. You know, Councilmember Van Bramer talks about his great husband, who, by the way, I love, although apparently I'm not allowed to love him more than him. And I forgive Jimmy for the fact that, you know, I was able to get married my whole life, and he still beat me to getting married, but that's all right. I'm okay with it, not that it bothers me. That's all right, I'm doing okay. But we talk about our families all the time, and families are chosen, and they are whoever we love most and dearest in our lives. And so I'm proud tonight to honor with Jimmy Van Bramer and with Councilmember Drum. We have a citation of honor for the St. Pat's for All Parade Committee. Brendan!